Hi, my name is David Montalvo, and I'm going to talk about how social media affects Twitter. I want to talk about a little history about social media. In 2006, MySpace was the biggest, number one social media theme to use, and it was like, if you didn't have it, you were not that popular. It was a way of communicating. I remember, going back when I was like 14, you used to have your top five. You could put your music behind your background. It was really nice. But nowadays, Twitter is changing up the script. These are being created like hashtag tweets, things that were not used back then. Also, Twitter, you're only limited to 140 characteristics. So that means you only can write shorter words. I did two surveys, doing some research, articles. I interviewed a 16-year-old girl and an 18-year-old boy. And I gave them the question, what does hashtag basketball means? The girl said, means that he likes basketball. The boy said, that means that he's about to go play basketball, or he also likes basketball. Without saying it in the whole sentence, people know generally what it means. Another example I can give, if you put hashtag no sleep, well, what I got from the 16-year-old, she said, that means the person went out last night, drank too much, had a hangover, but didn't sleep at all. He actually sees it like, okay, I'm bored, I'm tired, I need to get some sleep. That's pretty much it. But it's similar, but a different context. That's what you could take from Twitter. Because according to the research I found on socialmedia.com, they said that Twitter, people that use Twitter, they use more of an active voice. So let's hear it more from a professor who is a professor in communication, graduate from Northwestern University, and what she thinks about young people using active voice in Twitter. Right here, this is Edie, communication professor. And I have a really quick question for you. So according to research that I found, they said that Twitter and people that are tweeting, young people, they actually use all active voice. Do you like the idea that young people are using active voice? Is it beneficial? Is it a bad thing that young people are using active voice? What's your input about it?
Okay, I think it's great that people are using active voice. I think active voice is livelier, it's more engaging, and that Twitter, you're trying to do that. You're trying to get people to read you and to follow you and to share your tweets. And you're trying to convey information quickly. And I think part of it is, in 140 characters, you've got to be really tight. One of the things I talk about in class is active voice is actually tighter, right? Tighter writing than passive voice. A lot of times you'll see, it was learned today by so-and-so. Whereas you can just say what was learned, right? You can say, we learned, or we found out. And it eliminates the it was. Some of that's called dead construction. So it eliminates the extra words and makes it tighter. So that's why I think Twitter is probably forcing people to use active voice, because you don't have time to say by the, right? You can just put the actor right at the front of the sentence. So in that sense, Twitter is good. But I'm looking up some Twitter stuff now. Kourtney Kardashian writes, stunting on these hoes, right? Now, I'm not sure, maybe is that active or passive? It's a fragment, one, but it is less than 140 characters. So it's really who is using it and what they do with it, with the medium. So there's certain constraints within the medium, the 140 characters, that can force you to be tight and explain well, but it can also force you to write like that, right? It depends on who you are and what you choose to do with the tool. So it's kind of like, is Twitter making us all smarter? Is the internet making us smarter? Is a pencil making us smarter? It's like, well, what do we choose to do with it? But I think anything that can move us towards active voice is good. And if some people are using Twitter that way, that's great. But it's not a given, because Kourtney Kardashian is going to write what she's going to write. It does make us focus on drawing people in. Now, I came up in the tradition of writing, in public radio, we call it writing for the ear. Kind of assuming that people are doing the dishes, they're driving a car, they're not paying full attention, and they're not going to they can't reread it. And they're generally not going to rewind it to hear what you say. So every word has to count. And I think when you start thinking that every word or every character counts, you make better decisions. So again, writing for Twitter, writing for the ear, these force you to be more conscious and economical with your syllables, with your words, and figure out what you're trying to say in a more direct way. But it's not a given. It's not a guarantee.
Young people, to become a journalist, one has to use active voice because it is more effective, straight to the point, and shows the action, rather than passive is more light, not engaging. So as you can see clearly, young people tweeting in Twitter without even knowing are acting like journalists. This is one way of building them in their writing, in their, and many other things. So I really like what the professor said about active voice, something I never thought about, and she pretty much opened my eyes to seeing a different angle. Another thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people argue that Twitter is actually bad for the youth because, first of all, they don't check your punctuation. There's no grammatic rule. It's you could use slang. There's no balance. But in reality, according to another article that I read, it's a funny article you have to watch. It's about two couples breaking up inside an airplane, and a girl who's not even their friend out of nowhere starts tweeting about how they broke up in the airplane while taking pictures and posting them on Twitter. So she'll be like, girl, : I can't believe you did this to me.